So before we deep dive into any of the specific alert types, let's have a look at some of the general configuration that can be applied to almost all alerts so we can understand how best to notify people with the different channels on which we can notify, scheduling alerts, and much, much more. So we're on the new alert screen again. We're going to scroll straight past all of the alert types, the specific configuration for the standard alert type that we've got highlighted. You'll notice this changes based on the different values you've selected. We'll stick to standard because it's the simplest. So the first thing we'll look at is notification groups. So what notification groups are is a way of routing this alert to different recipients. Okay, so to start with, you always have a single default notification group with a single webhook, the Coralogix application. What this specific thing does is it will inform the Coralogix application of an alert. It's kind of looping back on itself. This will update things like the insight screen, which we'll discuss in another video, but it just makes sure that the Coralogix platform is kept up to date with these alerts. You can add further webhooks to this notification group if you don't want to do anything more specific than that. So you can easily pick from a variety of different webhooks that already exist. There are lots of webhooks already. You can actually view them if you come out of here, data flow, and go to webhooks here. You'll see that you have a bunch of predefined webhooks already, and then you have webhooks that you can think. So in here, you can actually specify different endpoints. You can specify different JSON bodies. So you can see here we've actually specified the JSON body. So remember that the predefined webhooks are always all very flexible. The predefined webhooks are inflexible, that you just give it an endpoint to hit, or you give it a key, and it will automatically send out to that appropriate endpoint. The webhook type is for custom endpoints. So if you want to invoke a script via a HTTP call, API gateway in AWS, that kind of thing, that's the place to go. So we'll make our way back to alerts here. Go to new alerts, and that's notification groups. But what you can do is you can add extra notification groups. And this is where things get kind of cool, actually. So what you can do is if you write a query, you can actually write a query and group it by a specific thing. So I'll give you an example. Let's group by application name, for lack of a better one. So now what I've essentially said is I've grouped by application name. So now anytime, so I will essentially get an alert for each unique application name. And if I go down here, I can now set up a notification group on that grouping. So what that means is for each individual application name, I can add different webhooks, and I can add specific notification groups for different keys. So if you have multiple groupings, which you can do here, then you can set up different keys here as well. And you can have different recipients of data as well. So you could have, for example, webhooks for this group, webhooks for this group. So it's a really powerful way of routing this alert, essentially. Then you have schedule. So if an alert is only relevant, for example, during business hours, or you only want to be told about it at midnight because your daytime has a different system, you can set that up here. So essentially you're defining when it will and won't fire. You can disable this functionality by hitting the limit triggering. Notification content will actually structure the message itself. So rather than just dumping the default thing, you might want to say, okay, I want to see the data from some specific JSON fields that exist in the log. And I don't want to have to worry too much about the rest of it. So there's application name and so on. That's up to you to define. The standard one is pretty good, but this way you can specify specific values and really tailor that experience. Finally, the verify alert. So this isn't a configuration, but this is available on some alert types. What you can do is you can define a query here. If you define a query up top, for example, let's add a specific application. Let's set the default app, or maybe that's a bit busy. We'll do Prometheus. And you verify again. You'll notice now it's different. So what this is essentially saying is this is all of the times in the past 24 hours that this alert would have fired. And what this enables you to do is to define your alarm, and you don't have to wait if you've got it right. So if you know, okay, this thing happened at midnight or like 6 p.m. yesterday, go back, verify the alert, and look at 6 p.m. yesterday, and you'll see, okay, yeah, it did fire, cool, we would have covered that. So it's a really, really powerful tool there. Remember, this verify alert is not available for all alert types, though, so just be aware that if it's not there, it's not available for that. So those are some of the generic configurations that can be applied to all alerts. Next, we're going to dig into a few of the alert types. We're going to look at standard, and we're going to look at metric, and then we're going to dig into some of the specific configurations that are available around grouping and things like that. So just to recap, we've just covered Notification groups, we covered some of the grouping, which can be done on some of the alert types. We've covered different notification groups and what that means. We've covered schedules, covered notification content, and we've looked at this verify alert feature to decide what that means and how it's useful and why it's so important when you're defining your alerts. So let's get moving.